For this eggs benedict recipe, you will need salt, butter, active dry yeast, water, flour, milk, a lemon, some white vinegar, eggs, Parma ham, avocados, and cherry tomatoes. So to make the homemade English muffins, pour 480 grams of flour into a large bowl, and in a glass place 139 of whole milk and the same amount of water, and mix in 9 grams of active dry yeast into the bowl. Make sure to mix it well. Then cut and melt 28 grams of butter. Then pour 6 grams of fine sea salt and 13 grams of granulated sugar. Mix this into the flour. Then add the milk mixture to the flour and stir to bring together until you form a dough. You can just use your hands for this. So pour in the melted butter to the dough and continue mixing the dough until it absorbs it. You should then cover and leave it to rest for an hour. After that's done, pour some flour onto your counters to avoid the dough from sticking to it. And using a rolling pin, roll out your dough and cut into circular pieces. So for this, I'm using a cookie cutter. You can have this in whatever shape you prefer. Make sure that you reuse any scraps because you can just re-roll them and create other muffins with it. So once in shape, cover with cling film and leave to raise for 30 to 45 minutes until the dough circles have puffed a little bit. To cook, then grease a non-stick frying pan and set to a medium to low heat. Use the spatula to transfer the muffins and leave them at least 2 centimeters apart. So cook for around 5 minutes on each side. In the meantime, you will want to bake your cherry tomatoes in the oven. This is kind of like as a side dish. And then pour the water into a saucepan and add 3 tablespoons of white vinegar. Simmer at a low heat. For the hollandaise sauce, melt 125 grams of butter. Then on a plate that fits over the saucepan with simmering water, place 3 egg yolks. Then grab your lemon and roll it under your hand to get more juice out of it, and then using a sharp knife slice the lemon in half, and you're gonna want to squeeze half of its juice onto the egg yolks. Then place your plate on top of your saucepan with simmering water and whisk until it's pale and thick. Make sure you're checking that your muffins aren't burning. Then season with salt and pepper and slowly whisk the melted butter bit by bit until you reach a creamy hollandaise consistency, and then remove from heat. Always be keeping an eye on your muffins. So for the poached eggs, bring your saucepan with water and vinegar to boil, and then break an egg into a coffee mug and slowly drop it into the boiling water. You can cook for 2 to 3 minutes and then remove it with a slotted spoon or spatula. You just do the same for the other eggs. In the meantime, I'm going to put the Parma ham slices onto a baking sheet and bake in the oven until crispy. Once your muffins are done, you're going to want to slice them in half, as I'm doing here in the video. You will then grab your avocado, cut it in half, remove its pit, and cut it into thin slices. So as I mentioned before, you're going to remove the poached eggs using a spatula and placing them on a dish. Then you're going to want to reheat your hollandaise sauce, so put it over the saucepan and just continue whisking it. To plate, place a slice of Parma ham over each muffin slice, then add your poached eggs and pour some hollandaise sauce over them. Then add your avocado slices and warm cherry tomatoes and enjoy.